I'll just pull up our quick agenda here. Let me just share a desktop here. 3 unique marketing elements that every agent should be looking to implement in their business in 2023. So we're going to chat about that. We are going to talk about conditional offers on the sale of a buyer's home. I think Tony brought that up last week, how valuable that would be. And I think she's got some conditional sales herself. So we'd love to pull on that. I think Theodora is going to walk through step by step using the web forms, how we actually pull those clauses in, and what forms once say there is an offer that comes in and you got to pull that 48-hour escape clause, what form you use there to trigger that. So we'll chat about that. And then, of course, we'll touch on Chris Leader's session last week, which was really all about listing presentations. So that's a good one. I like talking about that. And then Stefan and I were chatting about getting our Christmas cards ready and our calendars. And so we're November, what date are we? November 8th? No, I don't even know. No, November 9th we are today. We got to get our Christmas events, marketing, pop buys, all of our ideas, all the ways we're going to connect with our sphere of influence that, of course, celebrate Christmas and this time of year. We got to talk about that schedule and getting all those elements in. So, well, I'll start off by saying, do you like the content lounge space we've got set up in Brampton? That look good? Look at that little scenery here, right by the fire. It's nice. It actually works. It's beautiful. We have got that the Calendly schedule. If you want to book this space for family photos, to have your clients come in and have their photos taken here, this is a really cool space to do it. Why go to Walmart with their cheesy little backgrounds when you can have a really warm space that's set up high class? So we've got this in Brampton right now. You can use that, developing content, developing videos, etc. And then we've got it up in Orangeville as well too. And Theodora and the crew have done a really nice job up there getting that set up. So that's cool. That's exciting. So if you do want to book that in, I don't think we need any rules for it. Just the big one. I know Christine and I were chatting about, if you have an event here, a customer client event, let's say, no parties, but client event, just make sure when you guys leave, it's cleaned up, it's in good condition for the next crew that's here. I think we're going to charge some money if we got to do it, bring a cleaner in to kind of clean it up afterwards. And that was it. So other than that, I mean, you guys know how to use that space. Let me just share one thing here. I was going through this morning. Have you guys ever heard of College Pro Painters? Show of hands, big hands, real hands. Anybody here of College Pro Painters? I just want to share this really cool thing that I came across. I used to work at College Pro Painters. I had my own business. Stefan is laughing because he's like, I remember you guys coming to my door trying to paint my house. That's what we did. Why I bring this up is, like, I don't know of another business model that is more similar to real estate than being a College Pro franchisee, I should say. And I thought it was really cool. And this is my binder. I would go to the door and I would you'd see the ugly yellow, Century 21 ugly yellow maybe, and then I'd be like doing quotes and chatting. I'm like, hey, I don't know if you saw my sign down the street here. I'm painting that house. Yes, number 64, and we're doing that, and it's wonderful. Are you interested in getting a quote on your house to get it painted? If they say yes, awesome. Let me just take your name and number. I'll come by another time. I'm going to be back in the neighborhood at 6 tonight, and I can do that. Oh, why don't you just come by right now? I'm in my zone, I'm in my paint gear, I'm not prepared. Let me come by a little later or tomorrow night. It's like the same pitch in many ways as being a realtor. So I started being a College Pro franchisee. I think I was 19 years old. and let me just like take you back in time here. I actually have a goal sheet written out. I think I wanted to make $100,000 back in 2000, July 24th, 2000. And this is so cool. I got to read it here. By September 1st, 2000, I will produce a total of $100,000, which will come to me in various amounts from time to time during the interim. The return for this money, I will give the most efficient service, which I am capable rendering the fullest possible quality and the best possible quality of service in the capacity of a manager at College Pro, and it goes on. And then I've signed it. Thank you, God. And July 24th, 2000. Can you tell who my mother was growing up? No, not at all. I mean, but these sorts of principles, they're lovely. I love it. But like in the same way that we are doing the door knocking and prospecting is the same way, we're doing real estate. The other thing I wanted to share, which I'm a little bit embarrassed to share it, guys, I'm exposing myself to you today. Okay.
Don't do that.
Please don't judge me. But anybody know what one of these are? You guys know what these are? What that is? This is a portfolio. I went to school when I was younger at high school Mayfield, and I went for visual arts. This is the portfolio of work that I have. And I'm going to make this relevant, as if you haven't already kind of understood this. I used to do these drawings, right? Here's a cabbage. What an annoying thing to do all day long is draw cabbages. And then we do some drawings like this is the start of a little chapel here or church in Caledon, and that's done through stippling, right? And so like the amount of hours that go into something like that and the preparation. Here's another one here. Look at that. Just like a lot of work goes into this portfolio, and I just wanted to kind of share elements. I did a semester on photography and some of the things that I found interesting. And I've got this beautiful, all this amazing artwork. And look, even got a little portfolio here showcasing some of my work that I do. And so where I'm going with this is just like we have as artists, and I was an artist, let's say, but even as a salesperson, we are showcasing our work. And so, as Chris was chatting last week, Parth, hello, I see you there. Chris was chatting about your listing presentation, and you not just have to describe the value and the difference between you and another agent. You have to show it. And I think I think most of you here have a listing presentation. And so one of the things in 2023, if you haven't already done this, having a listing presentation is a must. And if you don't have one created that showcases all of your greatness, you got to do that. I was up there on Monday in Orangeville with Theodora. We were kind of going through her presentation, my presentation. We're kind of comparing notes. She has a lot of great things in her presentation. I think, Theo, there's something you were showing, like letters from a client that were really kind of just showcasing how amazing you were, what they thought, the experience that they had with you, and they wrote you letters. Did you put that into your actual listing presentation?
Yeah, so right after the testimonials that I printed, whatever I have like handwritten notes and just like cards with their notes, thank you. I have like a photo when they invited me to a restaurant, all the family, and they actually sent this to me. They printed and sent it over. I just have it here, and all the testimonials and whatever else when I talk about past clients. And it's just visual that they see, and it's something to add to your value. Here, people were happy with your services. They wrote you cards. They invited to. This is a housewarming party invitation in Cambridge a few years back, and it was very nice. So they really wanted me to be part of that, which was privileged to be there. So all these things I think matter for when you're in front of them.
Yeah. And so, like, again, what do you need in your business? Step number one, if you're a listing agent, you got to have one of these binders, guys. This is the first and foremost. Proving to people you've already put the work into it. Much like an art show, you don't walk into an art gallery, see something on the wall, and then go, oh, I want to buy that. The work wasn't done there. the work was done. It took years to create that masterpiece, hours upon, the little dots and stippling that you're doing there. And it's same thing with the listing presentation. You don't do the work in that moment. And I know when Chris chats about doing a listing presentation, he's got all these tricks and conversations and scripts and the process, all vital in order to get the signature in that moment. But if you haven't done the preparation beforehand, it'll be very apparent, right? It'll be very apparent. One thing that I'll show you this again in my College Pro Painter days. I thought this was really cool to have a guide. Anytime a client would say, well, I don't think it's going to take, that seems like a lot of money, Trevor, $2,000 just to paint my windows.
For dinner.
And then I would say, well, let me show you. It actually takes per window. I got to do, and then I would show them through this little, I guess, manual, how long it would take to scrape and prep the windows, how long it would take to prime them, how long it would take to do the first coat and the second coat, and how long does it take to paint the garage. I'd have this as part of not defense, but just to educate people in the same way that we are today when we're doing CMAs. How valuable is it to have when someone says, well, I think my house is worth $2 million because that other house was sold for $2 million. And you got to have that conversation to, again, educate them, but you got to have the visual tools in your presentation as well, too, to have a little adjustment guide in your presentation to discuss and say, well, and this is the value of an extra car garage. You only have one car garage, they have two. So that's a $30,000, $40,000 roughly in this neighborhood value difference, right? They back onto a ravine that starts around $50,000. That could be a $300,000 ravine, depending. And we've got these guys that we go by. It's about, again, being prepared. You may not bring that up in every conversation, but it's one element, and it's kind of like a pocket knife. You're ready for any debate, conversation, education in that presentation. So that's all I wanted to kind of bring up in that point. When you're doing your listing presentations. The other thing I really do, I do want to mention, and because again, we're doing listing presentations, this box things, guys, this really is a different tool that you're seeing, that you're not seeing other agents use or I guess use to combat you when you're going out. But I think this sort of a box, of a presentation, I think the word is getting out about these sorts of tools. And I think you're going to start coming across this kind of competition. I know that, when I see local home finder team, and they were here yesterday, I know Amir and his team have in their listing presentations visual tools, their brochures and their different marketing tactics in a visual format when they're presenting to win those listings. And I think he's not on this call. Amir's not on this call. I don't think he is, but he was just, we were chatting yesterday in Orangeville on Monday. Was it Monday I was there, Theodore, or Tuesday? Monday. And he was saying, he's like, yeah, I don't know if I can say this. He's like, I just want a deal away from Ferris. And it was like, boom, boom, boom. This is how I want it. And it was not one thing, it was everything. You can't just have a listing presentation and not do a good delivery of it. You can't just have, the brochures and not show the full kind of step by step, the marketing plan. You got to show everything these days, not just to win that listing presentation, but to get the listing signed at the right price and your full commission. That'll be another factor that people will just keep putting the pressure on. That pressure will always be there.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my rant on that point. I just wanted to bring that up. Tio, do you have any comments on that?
He also mentioned about the importance of the pre-listing presentation that you must drop off a day before your appointment. So I just have like a little brochure that I have it printed. It's all Century 21, and drop this off. I use the Buffini cards as a personal note, just looking forward to our appointment on this date and time. And I know some people have their own brochure with their own presentation about something about themselves if they don't know the seller, and just drop it off. This is, I think, very important these days, to make a difference between you and the other agent that I'm pretty sure is already at the door. So it's gonna be tough. So he touched about on that. Also, visuals on how what I have is all the marketing that I tell them. Like when houses used to sell in 2 days, there was no point of bringing up the, just listed. By the time they got it, you had to have that just sold in the mail. So all this Century 21, just a sample of whatever we have in our marketing center. Show them how the brochure will look on their house, and also whatever I'm doing after, so they know they keep in touch. I'm sending something every month in their mail. They get the calendar from kids, with their names, and they're impressed. So all these things are part of the whole presentation. And also the one thing that I do, and I know other agents do it very well, I have a binder at the house once the house is listed, where I have the pre-listing inspection, I have details about the house, I have the list of all the upgrades, and it's nicely binded and left there for all the showings, so they can go through that and just look for whatever extra info they need about the house. So that's about it. Trevor's fancier, but mine looks like this.
I think the message here is just, we got to have something, and it's a work in progress. I've got a nice binder that matches the interior of my car. That was really important to me. Okay. But you're starting somewhere, and then you can build it to a different product, which is always, you want to be different than your competition.
And I also have what I think that I don't have that stress is just an extra real estate bag where I have all the presentation there ready. I don't have to worry about what am I going to ready for the appointment, except the CMA and forms and everything that I need, measuring tape and cutters and ties and everything that you would need. But that kept separate from everything else that's personal, and it's ready. I just have to do the CMA and be ready with my objection handling at the appointment.
Yeah. And again, Theodore is showing you a lot of the Century 21 stuff. Guys, just a tool. It's here for you to use it. They're great. They're already branded. And the content is already in there. I've got them in my boxes as well too. We give those with the boxes. If you got something branded yourself, you want to rebrand it to your logo, absolutely do that. That's for you to do that. So is there anybody that uses does something, or they've seen something out in the marketplace for listing presentation that is somewhat unique that you might think the group here would like to hear about? Again, I'm sharing what we do and what Tio's doing in her listing presentation. Is there anything have you guys seen out there that you come across? You're like, wow, I'd love to put that into my listing presentation that you want to share?
Trevor?
Yeah, Tony.
I haven't seen anything out in the market, but another thing I do is, because I really don't have a listing presentation, I talk, but one of the best things ever is having a list of your past clients' phone numbers that the current client can call for a reference. Obviously, you've talked to your previous clients. They love that. They feel that there's, and I tell them, they'll be honest with you, whether they were unhappy with their price, but they were happy with the service we provided, they'll be honest. And I just find that really helps, because in essence, you're applying for a job and they need to call for references.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. If you got that permission from those previous clients, if anybody wants to really understand who Tony is, do you mind if I give them your number? Would that be okay? I'll of course only give that to relevant clients, but I think that's wonderful. Any other ideas out there for listing presentations? Yeah, Dawn.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I haven't done it, but I'm going to do it, and it makes sense. So in the Chris Leader course, I was reviewing the first part of the listing presentation from last night. And he talked about when you're going into a listing presentation, bringing coffee and cake, bring a gift to the listing presentation. It automatically makes you go to the kitchen table where they make decisions, or bringing fresh flowers. Like, this is when you're presenting to them. I thought that was awesome. I'm definitely going to start doing that.
I love that. Louis Camara does that. I don't think he wants me to tell
Oh.
anybody, but he always brings like a little box of chocolates, right? And he gives that, and it's little sweets, and they can like taste in it, and it's enjoyable. I do like that. Lovely. Any other ideas? Anything else we can share? Parth, how do you do your listing presentations? What do you bring to the table? Being able to read the play in a room, that has everything to do with your characteristics of being self-aware, right? It's a difficult thing to teach. But I also do know that some of the best listing agents I've seen and had the pleasure of watching them through, I think of people like Louis Camara. I think of people like Lorraine Mandello, Debbie Howe, like some of these big producers for the last, 20 plus years. They've been in the business 20 plus years. Actually, Debbie just had her 25-year anniversary with just this company last week, which is an amazing thing. But these people, they have a process, and more importantly, they make it look, to your point, Parth, they can make it as formal as they need to in the moment to read the play on their audience, or as relaxed as, again, if that person is feeling that anxiety, it's like, whoa, this is a little overwhelming to me. So that's a good listing agent really does make it look easy, but make no mistake, it's not on the spot. It's not by the seat of your pants. There's a formality. The top listing agents have a process for all their listings and that presentation as well. Like I know Karen.
I would like to add one more
Yeah.
thing that actually Chris Leader also mentioned.
Sure, yeah.
When you're there at the listing presentation, try to dress close to who you're meeting. So if they're like very casual, don't go overdressed. Like, just try to match your clothing and overall dressing to what your clients are. So that's another thing that he mentioned. So sometimes just don't go like, wearing a Rolex watch and too expensive car, and then just don't roll out of your expensive, like, don't show them like,
But all I own, Parth, is Rolex watches.
So
I understand the point. Again,
that's
know your
yeah.
audience.
Mhm.
If you're going to go up on a property that might be let's say a $500,000-$600,000 condo or townhome or something like that, don't be flashing around, your Rolexes. But at the same time, and yet if you sat down with a salesperson came into my home per se, I might, again, I'm a different generation, believe it or not, then I may not be comfortable with that. I take that as a sign of disrespect as well too. To be safe, I think Chris has always said this as well too. As long as you don't want to be the one underdressed, that's for sure. You want to be the person that is I don't want to be wearing a full three-piece suit, but I don't need that. I can get rid of the tie. But Trevor wears a jacket and pants on any day of the week. I think Aaron said to me, he's like, "Do you even own a pair of shorts, Trevor? I've never seen your knees before." It's like, no, I got knees, I got shorts. It's fine. But when you're, everybody's a little bit different there on that point. Now, Karen, you've got a really good listing presentation. I don't want you to give away all your secrets there, but if you could share one piece of advice to the group here today, what would be the piece of advice you would give them when putting their listing presentation together?
Did you say me, Trevor?
Oh yeah, that was Karen McGuffin. Yeah.
Okay.
listing queen in the Orangeville office there.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think I do have a presentation folder similar to yours. I do need to revamp, and I need to kind of get out of the last decade and get into the new decade. But I leave with them the information. Like, obviously I have a listing. I already have it filled out except for price and commencement. And I have the comps and all those things that we normally talk about. I have it in a special binder for them. And part of that binder also is, the brag about Karen McGuffin to a certain extent, right? And I joke about how we're all like very narcissistic, it's all about us. with the client, but when I'm talking and going through the rest of the visuals, this package I leave with them. And a lot of times people show up with nothing to give back and like, oh, I can't figure out what the house is worth unless they see it first, kind of thing. Well, I come with a pretty damn good idea, and then I leave them with the tools. So I take home my binder of my stuff, but leave them with something. And I think that that has gotten me listings over and above other people, other realtors from other companies.
Yeah, I like that. One thing I will tell you, and we'll move on from listing presentations, guys, but back to the College Pro Painter days, because I want to talk about me. I'm an arsonist. No, but back in the days of College Pro Painter, there are hundreds of companies that can paint your house for you. What was the difference between why College Pro in North America became a phenomenon in supporting students painting houses? Like, what was it? What was the difference? There was a brand there, yes, of course. There was a great, I guess, vision, hiring students to paint your house, which that could be an awful thing in concept. But really what it was the process that College Pro did, from the estimates to the vision. That presentation, that listing presentation I've got, the very first one I ever did was through College Pro Painters. And I can tell you my closing ratio, whenever I went and did that estimate on that home, I think I was in the 60s, and the average would be around 35 to 45%. I was in the 60%. And why was that? I had the entire formal process laid out. 68% of the time, whatever that was, I would land that presentation, or I would land that job. And again, I don't say this to say what a great painter I was. It wasn't that. It was, I was doing all the preparation. We're in November, between the time you guys are doing your door knocking right now and your Christmas events and your planning and your marketing that you're doing. Do not forget that listings is where the money is at. Listings is where the control at. You've got to always be, whether it's been 19 years since you've updated your listing presentation, or I haven't done it since the COVID and I've got to replace all my COVID stuff there, because that may not be as applicable. You always got to be relevant. Those market statistics always have to be done every single month if you're going to have those in your presentations. So that's, I guess, the point of that.